Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back. It's Brandon again, and today we're going to be talking about tracking exercise. And the reason I'd like to do this video today is because recently I've been linking to the MyFitnessPal website a lot in the description box, which has led a lot of you guys to friend me on there, which is really cool because I get to see what you guys are doing and vice versa. You get to see what I'm doing. Which has also led to a lot of questions about exactly what I'm doing. Am I cutting? Am I bulking? What's my intake like and why is it like that? So that will be a follow-up video to this at some point. I'll talk about what I'm doing specifically and the reason why I'm taking in the numbers that I'm taking in. But as part of this, and MyFitnessPal is something that I've been talking about for years now, a lot of people message me regarding tracking exercise because you've noticed that you can track your exercise and your energy expenditure through MyFitnessPal, which has led to a lot of confusion because people, have these set goals in mind as far as caloric intake and macros go, and they meet those goals, but then they message me and say, hey Brandon, once I put my exercise level in, I'm ending up in like a 1,000 calorie deficit even though I've eaten all my food for the day. What the hell is going on? What am I doing wrong? So I take the time to explain exactly how this works and why it is what it is, and in most cases I suggest not tracking exercise through MyFitnessPal, and I'm going to talk about why. In order to do that though, I got to give some background on my advice typically to find out caloric intake. Now MyFitnessPal does have an actual calorie calculator built into the site. I don't like that one, however, as it gives you, in my opinion, not very realistic calorie intake as well as the macros that it recommends. I don't like it. It's not really meant for someone in the bodybuilding or muscle building mind frame. It can still be beneficial to those depending on if you're trying to lose weight or not, but to me, the one that I like to use is through a site called Free Dieting. And I'll link that in the description box because that's the one that I found is most accurate for me. Now, there are a ton of sites out there that are able to do this for you. So tons of calorie calculators out there. Depending on if you've done any personal training and have certifications, there's certain, equations that you can use out there and certain numbers that you use depending on activity level. And that's really what I want to focus on right now is the activity level aspect of it. So regardless of what calculator you choose to use, in almost all cases, unless you're just getting a true BMR or basal metabolic rate, which is the amount of calories your body needs if you were to, let's say, lay in bed all day with no activity. Just the amount of energy you need to do your daily functions. Not many people go off of that because not many people just lay in bed all day. Instead, people have activity levels. So whether you go to the gym or you're doing a lot of cardio, you're on your feet all day, this is going to really alter the amount of calories that you specifically need. So everyone's different in that regards based off of their own personal TDEE, or total daily energy expenditure. Now, regardless of that fact, many of these calculators ask you that question. So they'll ask you some simple stuff: your sex, your age, your height, your weight, and most commonly your activity level. Now, this can be from sedentary or not active at all to low to medium to active to highly active. And depending on which one of those activity levels you select, it's going to either up or lower your overall caloric recommendation. Now, regardless of that fact, how I typically suggest people go about finding out what their own intake levels need to be is use whatever calculator you choose to do. However, don't fall in love with the number that it gives you. Instead, take what it recommends is your maintenance level, or again, the amount that you would need to take in to stay the same weight day in and day out based off your own factors and activity level, and put that into actual play for 2 weeks and see if it holds true. So if it says that you have a maintenance level of 2,500, take in 2,500 calories per day for the period of like 2 to 3 weeks and weigh yourself before and after. And you should have, if that number is correct, not changed weight at all. Now, if the scenario is that you gain weight, that'll tell you that that maintenance number that was recommended was too high and your maintenance is below 2,500. On the flip side, if you lost weight, that'll tell you that your actual activity level is higher than 2,500, and 2,500 is actually a deficit for you. And then that way you could actually up your caloric intake if you wanted to maintain weight. So I like to do it this way just because it gives it some play in a real life scenario and you can truly find out what exactly is maintenance for you. Now, in the broad scheme of things, whatever number it gives you, and even if you find maintenance, it's not going to be a truly 100% accurate indicator of what your maintenance calories are, just because it's very unlikely that each day that we're burning the same amount of calories. One day it might be 2,700, one day it might be 2,400. Overall, the average would be around, again, 2,500 or so. So none of these are going to be 100% accurate anyway, so really don't put way too much stress in. But what we're really trying to do here is just find a rough number. That way we can then manipulate that number if we want to gain weight or lose weight. Now, the topic of this video is tracking exercise, so you might be asking me, well, why are you really talking about all these calories and maintenance and whatnot? And I'm going to bring this full circle, and that is the fact that, again, these calorie calculators that you're using in almost all instances account for activity level already. Meaning that if typically in 1 week you do cardio 3 or 4 times per day, you're going to put that you're somewhat active when you use these calorie calculators. So again, it's already taking into account your exercise level. So if you were I'm starting to get all mumbly, if you were to then again track exercise on top of that through MyFitnessPal, you're counting it twice, so you're not really getting a true indicator of what you're actually taking in and what you're burning. That's why it's going to lead to these really weird numbers, and things are going to look all kinds of fucked up. So the best thing to do is, if you're using a calculator that accounts for activity level already, or you're consistently doing the same amount of exercise each time per week and you find your maintenance based off of that, I would highly suggest not tracking your exercise on top of that. Now again, some people like to just use their BMR and then track exercise on top to get more specific. To me, that's kind of more of a pain in the ass, and for the average person, there's no real huge benefit to doing so. It just makes things a lot more complicated. And in my opinion, the simpler you make these things, the easier it is to conform to it and stick to it and see the results you want to see. So when it comes down to it, again, take a look at how you're determining your maintenance calories and your cutting or bulking calories. It's probably already taking into account your activity level, so don't count it on top of it, because you're just going to be counting it twice. And again, to sum it up in a way everyone can understand, you're going to go fuck up, and no one wants that. In the meantime, everybody, thanks for watching, and stay big. Or small. I can't say stay big on these diet videos. It just doesn't really work too well. So do what you got to do either way. We'll talk soon.